You mentioned we have the Assistant Attorney General from the Office of the Attorney General here in the state of Iowa joining us in studio right now. It's J. Andrew Cederdahl, and there is something coming up a week away from right now on Tuesday coming up that is really kind of cool.
Yes, so People's Law School. Tell us kind of what that is all about.
Yeah, Michelle, thanks for having me on. The People's Law School is meant for the public. It's trying to connect the public with attorneys to explain to them confusing legal issues that they want to know about.
Okay.
So in the past, we've had issues like real estate and child custody, things that the public, again, really wants to know about, wants to understand, but may not have access to a lawyer to ask questions about. And I'm happy next week to be doing elder abuse and to be covering that with the school.
So you really let what people are interested in drive kind of what you guys are going to be talking about and sharing at each of these.
That is correct, Michelle.
Okay.
How long has this been going on that you present these opportunities?
Yeah, so this is my first time doing it, but the Bar Association this will be the 10th time.
Okay.
So they've had 9 other people's law schools, and they will continue into other topics throughout 2020.
But how many of these do you do in a year's time?
It's once a month, and so every third Tuesday.
Okay.
And I don't know how many the bar intends to do this year, but they will be doing it throughout the year.
It's pretty on a regular basis.
So you mentioned that we're going to talk about elder abuse. What in general is going to be happening? What are some of the topics you're going to talk about?
Sure. So we're going to be talking about the signs of elder abuse, learning how to spot it in the community, trying to get the community more aware of these signs so that they can be advocates for victims. Learning how to prevent elder abuse and to remedy elder abuse if you suspect that it is happening or it has happened. And then talk about community resources that we can direct people to, of which they may be unaware.
How prevalent is this? How often is this happening, this elder abuse?
Lou, it's a very serious problem throughout the United States and in Iowa. It's a very serious problem. The Department of Human Services of Iowa puts out a quarterly report, and one of the last reports indicated that from July 2017 until June 2018, there were over 8,100 reports of dependent adult abuse.
8,100?
8,100. Just to the Department of Human Services doesn't necessarily count all of what is happening. Studies consistently show that elder abuse is underreported and underrecognized. One New York study actually shows that for every one case that is reported, 44 in New York went unreported.
44?
Yeah, so
those are staggering numbers.
Absolutely staggering.
Now, is this something that it might be happening right in front of people that they don't even realize it is going on?
Yes, and that is the scary thing. A lot of people don't understand that financial exploitation is a huge part of elder abuse. When you think about elder abuse, you might think of the nursing home scenario, and that is a problem, no question. But family exploitation is also a huge problem, one that we don't like to face because we don't want to think of our family as being someone who is going to victimize us, but it does occur very regularly.
So we're talking about a combination of abuse happening that's in institutions and as well as in our own homes.
That is correct. We're talking about elder abuse in various contexts, including the community. In fact, we'll mostly focus on the community.
Okay.
We'll be talking about financial exploitation at great length, self-neglect, things of that sort.
Okay, so you're not only talking about physical abuse, you're talking about financial abuse of elders, but what about emotional abuse? Does that come into play too? That
absolutely does. It absolutely does. There are very complex legal issues that can arise whenever the issue is emotional abuse. It's common that many grandparents in Iowa are raising their grandchildren. Parents may have left the picture. Many of those grandchildren are living with older Iowans, and they may be using drugs. They may be doing bad things. They may be harming the elder, but maybe it doesn't rise to the level of physical abuse. And so it's really hard to remedy that issue. You can't call the police and say, my grandson is being mean to me, and necessarily expect them to be able to do something about that.
Okay.
So it's really important that we also cover that as well, and we do intend to cover it.
Wow. Who are we seeing come in and be kind of the advocate for the elder in some of these situations? Is it the neighbors? Is it family members?
Sure, it really depends. One of the reasons we want to empower the community is because many victims do need a voice, and they can't be their own voice, and so
Right.
we need people to be their voice. And the community members are integral in that process, and many times we do find that it is members of the community that are the ones who are advocating and helping the victim.
Okay.
Now, you said the elders themselves, a lot of times they can't be the voice. Why is that the reason? Or what is the reason, I should say, is that they can't be the voice?
Sure. So many times, if you're a victim of elder abuse, you're experiencing what we like to call capacity issues. Basically, it just means that you have a mental or physical condition that makes it really difficult for you to advocate for yourself. You may not appreciate that you're being abused. You may not recognize it. You may not want to admit it, especially when it's family.
So the shame factor could come into play here too, if they have that themselves?
That is absolutely correct, Lou. They're very ashamed. They're embarrassed. They don't want to admit if it's financial. They don't want to admit that they've been duped or that they've allowed this to happen to them. And so they're very reluctant to even report it, right? And so that I think contributes to the fact that it is an underreported phenomenon.
I want to talk about the financial aspect because you said people have been duped out of some big sums of money. In the state of Iowa, what kind of money are we talking about that elders have lost to some of these scammers?
So nationally, there's been a lot of studies on this, and it varies. It can, including government imposter scams and more consumer fraud types of abuse directed to the elderly. We're talking billions of dollars nationally.
Billions of dollars.
We're talking billions of dollars. When we're talking about family exploitation, studies typically show that victims tend to lose more when the perpetrator is family, and we can see why that would be.
Now, what would that scenario be there? And I'm trying to wrap my head around this. How would a family, be abusing an elder financially?
Sure. So what we call substitute decision makers in the law, so people who have financial power of attorney, or if they've been appointed as a conservator or a guardian or something of that sort, or they're a representative payee, they're managing Social Security payments for an older Iowan, could just be taking that money for themselves, right? And that's again, I go back to family financial exploitation that we do not like to talk about, but
it needs to be addressed.
It absolutely
Absolutely.
does. And there's a lot of misconception about what, for example, a financial power can and can't do. It is not a key to steal, right? A lot of people think that if you're a financial power of attorney, they can do whatever they want with the money that they manage. But the fact is that it is the victim's money and it's not theirs to decide.
Right.
And I would imagine that a family member who suspects maybe this is going on, what do I do? How do I address this? How do I maybe, help them? And so this class that you have coming up, this People's Law School, is going to be a great resource for people to learn more about that.
We certainly hope so, Michelle. We hope to clear up a lot of those misconceptions about substitute decision making in Iowa to give people the tools to empower themselves to be able to advocate for victims.
Okay, tell everybody where and when we're having this.
Okay, so I will be speaking at the Iowa Bar Association headquarters. It's on East 6th and Court in Des Moines. You can register for it, but you don't have to come in person. It'll be you can register online, and you can go to various libraries throughout the state to watch it.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
Satellite, very nice.
Yeah, we want to make sure we reach those rural communities. It'll be February 18th. That's a Tuesday, and it'll be at 5:30 to 7. And there will be time for questions as well.
Okay,
Oh, that's
this sounds
awesome.
like powerful information,
No
and that
question
you want
about
to get out there to the community and everybody. Well, if you can't attend the event itself, will this be something that they can get like a rebroadcast of, or continuing?
I believe so, Michelle.
Okay.
I think that those
Okay.
will be available.
So all the other additional information, iowabar.org
Yes.
is where we can get some additional information on this, iowabar.org. Very, very serious topic that needs to be addressed. It will be addressed next Tuesday. Thank you
Yeah.
for doing
Great
this.
information, great work.
Thanks for
you.
coming
Thank
in.
you
We
for
really
sharing that.
appreciate it.